The title of the presentation is the New Circular Economy Action Plan. Why is that? Because we are going to talk about what the European Union is doing on this topic. And the European Union has been establishing the so-called action plans. The first one 15, and now we are at the beginning of the second action plan, the 2020 action plan. So the whole discussion or the whole intervention is focused on what is being done from the European Union on this topic. We are really trapped, even if we don't want to, we are trapped in this linear economy model. What does it mean? Well, is the extraction, constant extraction from our planet of natural resources, and many of those resources are starting to be scarce. We take them, we manufacture them, we produce products which we buy, and when we don't use them anymore, we just throw them away. Let's take a mobile phone, let's take a coffee machine, let's take a bicycle. We just use the things, and when they don't serve the purpose, we throw them away and we start the circle again, the cycle again. So we are in this linear model. This linear model has three main spots of problem. The first one is the natural resources extraction. I said it, our planet has limited resources and we are constantly over-exploiting the means of this planet, and we are in a problem. That's one of the main topics of discussion nowadays, the climate change. We cannot continue to treat the planet as we are doing. Then when we take these resources and we manufacture them, well, normally we will not do that in the local environment. Probably we will go to factories where low labor is working, low cost, and we will produce the products there, then we will transport them back to our rich countries in order to be able to use it. These factories are far away, are producing, are polluting, are also damaging the environment. And at the end, we have the third spot of problem. We have huge amounts of waste, and for many years already, how to manage waste. But we should stop thinking of economy in the terms of take, make, dispose, and just try to find a nice ways to make things recyclable, and then we can start the whole process again. No, we should act different. But to move to the circular economy model does not mean to take the linear model, pull it down and make a circle out of it. No, it's to change our way of thinking, our way of consuming, our way of behaving. It's not to just simply make the natural resources at the end of their life recyclable. No, it's to think that the moment we are extracting natural resources, we are putting them in the circle and they have to remain there as long as possible. So it is very important that the consideration is focused at the design phase of the product. Any product needs to be designed with the mentality of circularity. So we are going to design products by which, when we manufacture them and we distribute them in the consumption phase, they can be replaced, repaired, they can be reused. Perhaps they do not even need to be owned. We will only provide the service and the consumers will lease that service. There will be systems to collect, repair and reuse all goods. And finally, the secondary raw materials will enter the circle again. So the extraction from natural resources is extremely reduced. Now it's time to go into what is the European Union doing about this. The EU imports more materials and natural resources than it exports. Here you have it in the slide when we talk about biomass, manufacturers, fuel, mining products. In all those levels, we are importing much more than we are exporting. So our balance is also damaged if we continue it in this way. How are we going to make this transition towards the circular economy? Well, as I said, it's not one single problem. There are several problems. We need to maintain our raw products, our raw material in the economy as long as possible in order not to damage the planet. We have to minimize waste generation. Think of it, we are legislating on the amounts that we can export of waste outside the European Union. So we have a real problem with waste generation. And we have to be competitive, we have to innovate. And this way of thinking, this way of perceiving how consumers are going to behave in the future, what kind of services, not only goods, but services, the companies have to offer to the consumers, offers immense opportunities for change. So we, at the end, could gain socially, economically, but also environmentally. So let's see what it has been doing. As I said already, we have the Circular Economy Package in Circular Economy Package 2015, in which they had 54 actions in motion to be able to reach this change of culture, this change of behavior. And of course, any change needs to be accompanied with money. And for that, in the previous programming period, the European Union foresaw a lot of money also for the support of the circular economy. Horizon 2020, the Fund for Research and Innovation, had a big amount of money also this time to the promotion of the circular economy. And the structural funds for waste management also have been playing an important role of the development of these 54 actions of the Action Plan 2015. For example, in the past action plan, in this one 2015, for 2030 on waste were raised in comparison to the previous period. And it was said, okay, 65% of all municipal waste will have to be recycled. 75% of all packaging waste will have to be recycled. And we need to reduce landfill. Think of it that the European Union has established a category of different types of treatment of waste. The first, the favorite one, would be to recover, to recycle. Then we can go into incineration, and the last one in the row is landfill, because landfilling is the most damaging way of treating waste for the earth. It's polluting, it's damaging the rivers, the seas, the land. So we should avoid landfill, and that's why the target to reduce landfill to maximum 10%. So now that we are in the 20s, the necessity to close the loop, to continue with this circular idea, circular concept, is a must. So we can see that the Commission has delivered the 54 actions of the previous plan, the 2015, with more or less success, but all of them have been placed in motion. And now we go into the new action plan, which is not very different from the previous one, but it has a clear set of 6 priorities. The first one is that we have to focus on sustainable products. Again, the beginning of the circle. So how do we design the products? How do we think before producing anything, how sustainable this thing will be? We have to definitely empower consumers and public buyers. Information. There is a cultural change in need here, and it's a must that we involve the consumers, the public buyers. When we talk about the public buyers, we are talking about the public sector, the administration, who spends more or less around 90% of the EU budget is spent in public buying, so the so-called public procurement. It's of major importance that this money is used in the way that we are buying the right products to make sure that we are behaving circular. We will focus on specific sectors. We will see which ones are those, because some sectors are, let's say, more easy to start with this idea of circular economy than others. So we should concentrate on those focus at the end with the ambition to ensure that we produce less waste, that we make that circularity is for the people. So we are giving good products to the consumer, but we are also creating jobs, and we are making sure that our local companies are functioning. And at the end, that the European Union, and this is perhaps the ideal, would be one of the leaders in the global efforts for the fight against climate. So when Ursula von der Leyen, the actual president of the European Commission, presented her political priorities for the Commission 1924, she gave a list of 6. I am highlighting here the one we are focused on, the European Green Deal. She also talked about an economy that works for people, a Europe fit for the digital age, protecting our European way of life, a stronger Europe in the world, a new push for European democracy. The circular economy is embedded in this one, the European Green Deal, but it's also clear when we look at the new programming period and the funds that are going to be devoted to circular economy, that is a transversal concept. By promoting the circular economy, we are trying to improve the economy in general for Europe. We are trying to improve the life of citizens. We are trying to protect our way of living, our planet. We are trying to be leaders in the world in this matter. Let's look now at some examples of actions at EU level regarding the circular economy. When we look at the 2020 action plan, we see that they are focusing on different goods, electronics and ICT. Why? Because the waste streams of electronic equipment is huge. There has been research, investigations on how the Europeans, the consumers, would behave, how would they like to be able to use their electronics for longer periods. And the answer is that they would be willing to have products that last longer, that can be repaired more easily, that in case of computers, mobiles, that you can upgrade them without the need to throw it away and buy a new mobile or a new portable. So we need to provide incentives for companies that will go into this circularity model. Plastics, huge problem. They say that nowadays we have more plastic than fish in the seas. So the consumption of plastics is still growing. There has been a lot of legislation in the 2015 action plan regarding the reduction of the use of plastics. There was also this directive on plastic bags. Well, things are being done, but still we are lagging behind, and it would be good to be able to have these single-use products phasing out, that we do not produce this single-use type of plastic. So the Commission is also acting on this and acting on microplastics in order to reduce the addition of microplastic to different substances as it is happening nowadays. Okay, for food and packaging, that's also one of the sectors in which the Commission is focusing, because packaging waste in 2017 reached in Europe a record number. Here you have it in the screen, 173 kilos per inhabitant. So we really need to substitute this single-use packaging. We have to go more for reusable products in food services. This is also a must. Waste, well, numbers are also huge, 0.5 ton of municipal waste per year for each citizen. So we are already introducing many measures of waste prevention and reduction, but still we need to have a complete harmonized EU model for separate collection and labeling of products. We need also to explain to the consumers in the labels how these materials are or not recyclable. So things need to be improved here as well. So the action plan is coming together with the implementation plan. How is this going to be done? And the action areas are here in the screen. Well, first, as usual, is a circle. We have to look at the production phase, what type of raw materials or secondary materials we use, take care of how you design the product. Then we look at the consumption phase, again, change of culture. And finally, if any waste is produced, how do we manage that? And in the center of this slide, you see innovation, investment, and monitoring. And I want to stop in the word monitoring. We really need to monitor progress, because we are investing huge amount of money in all these concepts, all these ideas, support for small and medium enterprises, support for the public sector to change the way of buying. and we need to monitor progress, because it's not that clear that the means are being used always, producing the necessary progress. So the monitoring part is becoming more and more important. The key action areas, well, summarized here, of course, we need to give incentives. As I said, when you produce, when you design with the circular means, normally the end result product becomes more expensive. So we still do not have the level of awareness by the consumers to pull them to use these more expensive products. So we really need to still help the companies with incentives. And we need to be sure that the production processes are efficiently built to be able to reuse those raw materials. Consumption, we have already said it, is a question of change of mind. We really need to inform and to make sure that we create this need for impact by treating the buying of products and the discarding of products in a different way. Waste management, we are already with lots of legislation in this area, but still the targets are being raised. We are getting now in this new action plan higher waste management targets. Secondary raw materials is part of the circle. We need to increase the use of these secondary raw materials. We need to take care with the chemicals. We need to protect the nutrients, and we make sure that we are using and reusing the waste in a healthy and safe manner. And at the end, innovation and investment. If we want all this to happen, we have to have the proper environment for innovation and investment. And for that, again, we need economic support behind it. These are the priority sectors that the action plan has detected as the main ones to focus and to invest and to provide grants for the companies to produce these products. So strategies and different means to execute all these ideas are together with the action plan in a kind of list in which we can see that there are several legislative and non-legislative proposals. For example, there is one on the right to repair for electronic devices, in which by this legislative and non-legislative measure, the idea is that we produce electronic devices that last longer, and even lasting longer, they can also be repaired. But because it seems, as you know, that now we are building electronic devices that are only produced to last for a couple of years. Well, innovation and investment is at the center of this new model of economy. Innovation, as I said, with the program Horizon 2020, has been a lot of investment going for the circular economy. In the new programming period, again, we will have money devoted for innovation in the circular economy, regional policy, the structural and investment funds. We also have the platform for financing circular economy with the European Investment Bank. And we are developing now pilot innovation deals in which there is an investigation on what are the regulatory obstacles for companies to innovate and to become circular, in order to try to avoid any red tape that may be imposed by the regulations in the different member states when it comes to these changes in the production processes. So I just wanted to stop in this practice guide that has been published this year, Public Procurement for a Circular Economy. It's a very interesting document that includes different examples and models on how, from the public sector, the different entities, institutions can procure their products in a circular way. And it's a real a document that I would recommend its reading if you are interested in the topic. They are also talking about the public-private partnership by which the public sector, together with the private sector, they established this cooperation mechanism to ensure that all the consumption of goods by the public sector is done in this circular way. So this is all what I wanted to present, and I am really looking forward for our debate that I am sure is going to be very rich. Thank you very much.